and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, Proud Lame, Certified Beta Male, Simba and John, whatever it is, no game. The socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul, speaking at your service. This following episode contains graphic content that could be uncomfortable to some viewers, that could be like disheartening, not safe for work, that type of ordeal. It could offend some viewers in some way without any intent at all. It could be strong language. It could be basically strong graphic scenes, however it may be. There will be an E that's actually placed onto the top label up on the YouTube set, and it can basically require either views for either minimum 13 up, or in some cases, depending on YouTube's policy, it could be 18 up or however it may be. Please take notice before we get on with the presentation. Alright, viewer discretion advised. Now let's get back to the
FTX, the world's third largest crypto exchange, went bankrupt overnight, from 32 billion to zero. This is one of the craziest stories you will ever hear. Sam Bankman-Fried is the founder and CEO of FTX. He also founded a hedge fund called Alameda Research. He got famous for being the guy that bought low-priced Bitcoin in the US and then flew to Korea and Japan to sell it at a higher price. A week ago, Alameda Research's financials were leaked. It showed a pretty scary relationship between Sam's two companies, and this is important for the story. So FTX has their own exchange token called FTT. FTT doesn't represent ownership in FTX. It just gave holders access to lower trading fees on the platform, kind of like loyalty program points. This is where the schemy stuff starts. It turns out that 6 billion of Alameda's 12 billion in assets were in this FTT token. And that alone isn't an issue, but if something were to happen to FTT, Alameda might not be able to sell all 6 billion and wouldn't be able to cover the debts they owe. It gets worse. It turns out Alameda was using that 6 billion of FTT as collateral to get loans from real customer deposits at FTX. So they were essentially putting up Chuck E. Cheese tokens as collateral to get real money to trade with. A super slippery slope if something went wrong. Enter CZ, the founder of the #1 crypto exchange in the world, Binance. CZ invested in FTX in the early days, but decided to sell his stake a while ago. As part of the buyout, CZ took $2 billion in the FTT token, so he owns a ton of it. A few days ago, CZ tweeted that Sam had been talking shit about him to regulators. In response, CZ told his 7 million Twitter followers that he planned to sell all of the FTT token that he had. Now, people knew this would crush the price, and so they started to panic sell their FTT token. The price of FTT spiraled. Alameda's 6 billion of FTT was quickly becoming worthless, and so they were going to go out of business. The problem is, if they went under, so did all that real money that they borrowed from FTX, which means FTX wouldn't have that real money to cover any customer withdrawals. So FTX paused withdrawals, and people panicked. Sam called CZ and begged him to acquire FTX to bail out their customers. Yesterday, they entered in a non-binding agreement for Binance to acquire FTX. #1 buying #3. But after looking at the financials, CZ backed out, and FTX just filed for bankruptcy. Anyone with money in FTX is never going to see that money again. Sam Bankman-Fried, who is worth nearly $15 billion on Monday, is now broke.
juicy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Alright. I tell y'all, man, this whole ordeal with FTX ran by Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried is a bit insane in itself, and I'm not gonna lie, this is getting juicier and juicier literally by the minute. Juicy! I have no idea. So, ladies and gentlemen here, and for those of you who might not see me, my name is Christian Paul here. You know, professionally, you may know me there. I know I'll probably go by a serious note. The normal socially awkward nerd is a bit curious on what the heck is really going on up in this whole space, and we are here to dig more into the juicy details, if you will. Juicy! Mr. Fried's now bankrupt company, FTX, and FTX and Alameda. Both of which mainly ran by Mr. Fried himself, right? He founded this coin, FTT, and yes, he has other sisters that actually ran alongside with him, including his ex-girlfriend Caroline Ellison, who majored in undergrad in mathematics. And they also have 2 other co-founders as well who have some very decent undergraduate degrees, but none of them had any full experience being professional traders, nor have sought the advice of professional traders and how to actually trade with stock or even cryptocurrency. They have no experience dealing with this whole ordeal, hence why they're currently in the position that they are in now, and they could be dealing with a possible criminal investigation ongoing by Interpol, the US DOJ, and possibly as well as the Bahamian government, which FTX headquartered in. So let's try to dig into the whole ordeal with FTT's coin here from FTX when it debuted in the public on July 31st of 2019. And I could scroll all the way down, and for more information you could definitely look on Tableau, or you could definitely look on GitHub for all these ordeals. I will be posting those links up there as well today in regards to these things, so that you'll be able to see for yourself. I will be actually getting that edited as soon as today or tomorrow, sometime this week. More than likely that's going to be finalized, that's going to get done. So what I will do, we are going to try and gloss around FTX's beginnings, FTT's beginnings, down to its closing point. So as you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing the close value being very low with very decent amount of volume. The close represents the closing price per day, as well as the volume represents the number of transactions that have been made during the period of the day, whether it's buying an item or selling the item, or buying stock, selling the stock, buying stock, selling cryptocurrency. However it may be, ladies and gentlemen, this is what volume of a stock of cryptocurrency basically is, like volume of a trade. That's basically what it is when it comes to trading. For all of you professional traders out there, juicy, if you know what I mean. Now, let's go gloss up in this graph here and try to see a slow rise. So you're seeing more volume, you're seeing volume intensify, you're seeing more transactions occur. Close starting to gradually increase there over the years, going through 2020 during the middle of the COVID pandemic, where it starts to slowly rise a bit, and you'll see the volume tends to vary. But notice the spike in the volume as I continue on this graph, going left to right. I want you to try and notice some when it comes to the volume here. Okay. So as it continues to go up, you're seeing the close that start go higher. The FTT token really started increasing value as FTX actually started having this hype being built with numerous celebrities all over the year 2021, where it literally started to boom during this time period. We've seen all these big time commercials with Tom Brady, Naomi Osaka, Larry David, Stephen Curry. The list goes on and on and on and on. You have no idea. Continue to actually scroll all the way down, right? You know, got Giselle Bundchen as well, Tom Brady's now ex-wife. All the way up, you're seeing a big close go up. March 28th, March 30th actually come through. You're seeing the value comes by with 56.28 with like 199 million trade values when it comes to trade action when it comes to the volume here. Basically like 199 million shares at the point. Go way down, drops for a bit, volume starts to intensify a little bit more, close starts to go down, volume starts to go down, go all the way high as well, see all the way peak up, and now you're seeing it start to go down to dip during a mini recession during the middle of May, during the whole summertime, with the fear of everything rising and people a little bit hesitant to actually buy some things now, and you're seeing a stock as much as crypto drop during this time period. Right, as you continue on going down throughout the year 2021, you see FTT stock continue to rise drastically, and you're seeing the high level of value continue to increase all the way through, and you notice a spike literally going on within that day, 569 million, right? Go all the way up with the value of the stock down, and you see the volume literally go to 8 billion. With close going by 65.18. That's when you really notice that FTX is booming. Then also all the hype at FTX, and you seeing certain like folks up in the space calling SBF the Michael Jordan of crypto, quote JP Morgan of crypto, whatever it may be, as they claim to be. And the block is really high at that point, right? Go all the way up, you further up, the volume actually goes a bit down drastically. And the close starts to get a little bit high because folks are really started believing the high. Now, the highest point is up at September 9th of last year, 2021, when the volume was literally at 3 billion. And that's why people really started buying the hype with Tom Brady, and the NFL season really started to take unfold. And folks really started getting into it, going all the way down. And that was the point where FTT stock really starts to go on a downtrend and be going on a collapse at that point, right? You see the close start going down below, not much volume coming through. It starts to roll up a bit, has little ebbs and flows there, and its stock continues to go down and down and down. Over the remaining year, 2022, beginning of 2022, ends up becoming a very, very piss poor year, where the closing price continues to go drop in value, volume continues to go a bit off, and SBF is starting to panic a bit all the way through due to this inexperience in trading, and the other co-founders inexperience in trading really starts to buy him in the ass. So as you can see, if you continue to go down, March 20th here, all the way up, you're seeing the closing values going through as well as the volume go through April 9th, varies, close continues goes down, closing price literally go all the way down at that point. Key date, May 7th of 2022. This is when FTX and Alameda and Nestle go bankrupt. In order to actually literally cover for the ass, SBF here decides, you know what, let me try to take some customer funds that actually paid me to hold FTX down, and let me try to use the funds from the customers, not coming from my own, rather than me falling for fallacy and actually saying, nah, maybe this may not work. Let me try to go bankrupt here and see even now companies literally willing to buy in order to at least pull on the company, at least, savor like all the customers' needs and actually keep the whole train rolling. Hopefully, SBF didn't choose to do it. He wanted to actually literally be gun-ho so that he'll be able to have the most wealth just to try to give away to people allegedly. Oh, really? And this is when he started doing all the illegal shady stuff behind the scenes, stealing customers' money all the way behind the scenes. And he literally tried to lie and say, hey, we're going to try and make it so much better, but he kept the whole public to a loop, and that's when FTX literally started to go downhill. Close continues to goes down, the stock is continuing to fail, and this is one of the point where, homeboy goes to the Congress, gets all the fame in himself, and actually took shots at Mr. CZ from Binance here, who basically made some crazy remarks. I'm not going to try to go into the details that Mr. CZ here feels irked. So he decides to pull the remainder of the side and actually sell his share, and actually posts a tweet up toward the general public saying, hey, this stock is not going to work. I'm pulling my money out. And at that point, on November 3rd, I want to go all the way to the tippy top. November 8th, around the time he made that tweet, November 7th, within a day later, you're seeing like a lot of people really trying to buy, get their stocks really sold, and trying to get their money back in a rip. And when that happens, all of a sudden now they got no money because, unbeknownst to the public that actually try to sell those shares, SBF took all the funds that he saved his own ass without the knowledge of the consumer. And once it happens, money is gone forever just like that. And the rest is history. And everything went down to shit. Everything went down to the toilet. So this is some very, very serious stuff, ladies and gentlemen, that we can all learn from, and we all be very aware if you choose to actually get into the space of trading. Unless you intend to save in heads and long term, which is actually easy to do, to save and hold your money for a number of years during bear and bull, and try to buy as much as you can so that the money can accrue come 10, 15, 20 years from now. That'll be the best way to go. But if you choose to actually be more active and play chess moves with professional trading, you could be like the most analytical person you could ever be, have highest degrees. Doesn't really guarantee that you'll still come out on top. You still need to understand more about the professional world when it comes to trading. You still need to actually get some guidance and mentors that understand about being professional traders and like what trading life is really about. And how to move around the market, how to thoroughly study the market and its ebbs and flows and the waves and everything, and see like where it goes along. And that's what the founders of FTX and Alameda unfortunately failed to do. And unfortunately, it may take a while, but in due time, more than likely, they're gonna end up seeing the booty warrior, or
pussy moisturizer.
They'll end up seeing the cookie warrior,
cookie moisturizer.
Depending on what connects they have. This is gonna be a very, very interesting decade, ladies and gentlemen. I will say that.
Hey, my name is Sam, and this is my story.
Sam has crazy hair. Sam is vegan. Sam has $22 billion.
Nas Daily made that video just 9 months ago. Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of digital asset exchange FTX, lost his entire $16 billion fortune in just a few days. FTX filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy on Friday, and Bloomberg estimates the crypto exchange's former CEO lost his entire fortune. He has been referred by some industry participants as the crypto version of JP Morgan, but now his entire fortune has been wiped out. Apart from that, FTX, FTX US, and his digital asset trading house Alameda Research were included in the bankruptcy filing.
Juicy!
Yeah, one more thing before I go, ladies and gentlemen. I actually did some machine learning modeling. Basically, I utilize the machine learning modeling that I use for modeling Bitcoin with like some data science, machine learning analytics. I utilize the same type of analytics with the FTT coin and utilize it and place it onto here. So that's also going to be on GitHub as well in the week to come. I will get on that, if not today at the time of the coin. I will try and get on it the next day if I possibly can. And from the looks of what I'm seeing, I create a logarithmic prediction chart of where FTT is going, basically trying to figure out if FTX can recover from this whole crazy debacle led by their new boss, Mr. John J. Bray III, who used to work at Enron, that later became defunct. It was the center of attention, doing a whole lot of scamming and a whole 9 yards and a lot of fraud and all this other crazy stuff that's really been going on. And he has seen this type of ordeal before, and it's just astounding. And that like he had like a scathing essay, a scathing report actually exposing the naivety of all these founders when it comes to their trading and how they ran their business. And unfortunately, he actually showed when it comes to that sudden collapse literally on November 8th. November 7th, November 8th of this year. And from the looks of what I'm seeing up in this graph, this is more than likely a bit accurate. Estimate is really on point. And I will say this, and take note, this is all speculation. This is barring criminal investigative filings. This is barring any other legal actions that actually shut them down. A lot of it can change. Even this graph, this is only a projection that can fluctuate at any given time, at any given moment. So just don't get your hopes up when it comes to this whole deal. Alright, so buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to be a very bumpy ride. Y'all gonna enjoy this one, because I dang sure will. And it's going to be juicy.
Juicy!